Is RTI.
It sure is. It's Radio Tatras International with me, Eric Wiltsher. It's Postcard From Poprad. And if I say it any faster, nobody will understand what I'm saying. Which is, I wasn't trained to do that, you know. That's not the way I was trained. We've lost Leigh for a little bit, but he will be back in a mo, we hope. He's reconnecting his interweb, because that's what he's doing. But in the meantime, Rach is here.
I am here.
You are there.
I'm so here. I couldn't be more here if I tried.
But you're still quiet, my darling.
I'm always quiet. I've got to get my life sorted on the weekend. Now we've got the actual internet at home.
No.
Honey, I don't trust it because but I don't trust it because we live in Australia after all, where the highest speed is 2 or something.
Well, I will now boast and say the advert is still the same. Slovakia's internet is faster than Australia's.
It is, but I'm going to test out my laptop with my new drivers and see if my microphone actually works, and then I can plug myself in and maybe not be so quiet.
Yes, actually, just as an aside, before we get started properly, while we're waiting for Leigh to come back, you're actually a good bit of market research there, you know.
Oh, look, I've always thought of myself that way. But tell me why.
Well, sorry, I do beg your pardon. There's so many people still who don't get this. It's making me upset, Rach. Mm. Yes, it is making me upset. Idiots who go on the interweb and say, Windows 10's a load of rubbish. And I go, but if you put new drivers in it, and they go, that's not my job to put new drivers in, that's Microsoft's job. And I go, no, it's not. It's your job. It's the same as anything else.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. So we're on the same planet then. Yes,
we are. And albeit very far away from each other on said planet.
Well, there is that to it, yes.
And that's just reality, but that's okay. Yes, it's terrible. People should stop blaming silly things and find the solution.
Yes. Right, well, I'm going to find a solution by getting everybody back together again. So, excuse me while I throw Rachel away for a second. And here he is, we've got him. Look at that. He's only here now.
Have I been away again?
Yes, you've been away. Well, you've always been away with the fairies, that's for sure.
That's an actionable remark.
Really?
Yes.
I thought you said you danced with the fairies before, the band.
The pink fairies?
Yeah. You're not going to get me that quickly, you know. I was up this morning, bright and breezy, and early, as Rach will verify.
Easy in the morning. Martina Sylvie.
Yeah. Right, anyway, we're going to move on now. We're all back. And listen, boys and girls, stop whinging about Windows 10. As Rachel's just told you, she put the drivers in herself, and it just worked. It's not rocket science, is it?
Although I did need your tutelage, Uncle Eric. I don't want to make out that I'm actually bright or anything.
Well, no, you did it, not me.
But you said, point here, do this.
I've got to be honest, I have had no trouble with Windows 10.
It's just your interweb that's rubbish.
Yeah, just your internet that's rubbish.
Oh, never mind.
Isn't it?
Anyway, I've got to do a couple of quick hellos. Martin's in the main office today. He's waiting for me. Silly boy.
Hello, Martin.
Hello, Martin. But say hello to Martin, Rach.
Martin, hello, Martin.
That's better. He'll be giggling now. He's like that, very easily pleased. And we've got to say hello to the lovely Celeste Buckingham, who came to visit this week. We had a nice little chat, and we'll have some of her music here soon as well.
That sounds brilliant. It's a good job her first name's not Marie, isn't it?
Oh, you don't even know who Celeste Buckingham is, do you?
Celeste Buckingham, of course I know Celeste Buckingham. What a wonderful singer and glorious looking young lady she is. Oh. We go miles back. We've known each other for decades.
But she's only 22.
I knew it. We were both very young when we met.
He's full of porky pies again, isn't he? Absolutely full of them. What you like?
Really convincing. Very convincing.
He was. Yeah, he was. Anyway, we'll start with Leigh because this is really, even for me, I'm not going to be a Luddite over this one of the greatest actresses that was on Coronation Street, and later on The Last of the Summer Wine, where she was equally amazing as Auntie Wainwright, was Jean Alexander. She's died at the age of 90. Leigh.
Yeah, she is very sad. I actually, once again, I knew her. I'd interviewed her on a number of occasions, and she lived a very unassuming life in a little semi-detached house on the outskirts of Southport, of all places, on Merseyside. And she never married because she was so dedicated to her life as an actor that she never married. And she just lived this gentle, kind and pleasant life. And it's just a tragedy. She was one of the greatest soap stars. I think that's fair to say.
I think you're right. And I think you need to turn... Actually, I've realised what's wrong with your interweb now.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
What's up now?
Well, you need to turn your Wi-Fi off because you're plugged in with a cable now, aren't you?
I am.
So turn your Wi-Fi off. Because I bet it's still connected by Wi-Fi.
Where do we do that? Are we going to do it on air?
No, I can't be doing it.
Fire.
It's too complicated to go there. We'll struggle on through this week, but I'll fix it for next week. Anyway, and what was she as big a star down in Oz, Rach?
Nope.
No? You haven't got Coronation Street down there?
Yeah, but, so...
Yeah.
The days of our lives, too. I don't know anybody on that.
Did you not have Last of the Summer Wine, either?
No.
No?
No. We're really far away.
Aussies.
He's really like a Dalek today, isn't he?
He really is like a Dalek today. It's quite... do you know what he sounds like? He sounds like one of those guys like T-Pain who uses... auto-tune microphones.
Yes, absolutely, he does. One of
I'm going to exterminate BT.
Yeah, don't send them an email; they'll never receive it. You had to think about that one, didn't you? Anyway, one of the mum's favourites for forever and a day was a lovely lady called Valerie Hunter Gordon, who's died at the age of 94, and she was the lady that invented the disposable nappy. What a superstar!
And didn't she?
Yeah.
Why is she a superstar? She single-handedly has almost brought the world to its knees.
Why?
Oh, stop it.
Yes, stop it.
Because disposable nappies are the things that will not vanish.
Stop it.
Built them out of parachutes, for God's sake. All of a sudden, the world has been flooded with disposable nappies, which have all gone into landfill, and everything is being destroyed.
Leigh.
No, not now, not anymore. They don't make them like that.
No, you numpty, Leigh. So, Leigh, I agree with Rachel. Stop it. Listen to it.
How many millions of nappies went in there since 1947?
I don't know.
You've got kids. You've got kids, both of you, and
yes.
You know that many times what's inside the nappy is way more dangerous.
Yes.
Than the nappy itself.
It's like radioactive waste.
It really is. You know why Chernobyl happened? It wasn't anything to do with the nuclear reactors.
No.
It was little children filling nappies.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, I wonder.
I
actually,
don't think that she did it on purpose.
No, but I just
don't think
wonder,
she did it on
Rach.
purpose. I don't think she set out to destroy the world with a child's nappy, but that's what she did.
Yeah, but do you know? I'm thinking now. I'm thinking, Mum, can you be mother for a minute, Mum?
Yeah.
I wonder how many young mums know what older mums had to go through before there was disposable nappies.
I do, and you know what? When Beth was still,
We know exactly what they had to go through.
My mum had to use regular nappies, and when I first had Beth, I used regular nappies.
Really?
And yeah, well, they're cheaper. And I was too poor to use disposable nappies. They were a luxury.
Oh, right.
And I used regular nappies, and then whenever I'd get some extra money, I'd buy disposable nappies because it was just exhausting. You just do nothing but wash nappies all day long.
That's right. I mean, literally, if you don't know what we're talking about, there would be like a tissue thingy, if you were a bit posh, that you would put on a normal, nappy, which is a bit like the same material as a face flannel or something like that. And then you would put the tissue on, and then you put it back on the baby. The nuclear waste would come out, which meant you then had to wash it. And it was the most horrific pong.
And you wash it in this solution of seriously hardcore industrial bleach.
Yes.
Which is just as bad as nappies you don't know.
He's ranting in the background, Rach.
Are we saying that pollution has not damaged the ozone layer?
Nobody's saying that. I'm just saying that you can't put it all on this poor woman and
you can't.
her grave.
I think she's a megastar.
Right. So pollution has damaged the ozone layer.
Yes.
Disposable nappies have destroyed the earth under your feet. We made a hole in the ozone layer and we put loads of nappies that will not disappear in the ground. It's not this Mrs. Hunter Gordon's fault. She didn't know it, but she made her nappies out of nylon, which was never ever going to disintegrate. Therefore, by default and by accident, she has damaged the world.
But they don't
She's not responsible for the whole world. She's not responsible for the entire ground pollution of the entire history of the world. Come on now.
Yes, come on now, Leigh.
She started it.
No, what she did is
she didn't.
she started it, and then they redesigned the nappy to be disposable. Am I right? Am I right, Rach?
Which this don't know. We're all walking around a load of nappies that won't disappear.
Do you know, it's more fun. It's more fun when he rants with a bad connection, isn't it?
Yeah, because we still can't hear him. It's just sort of screeching.
Yes.
But to be fair, I think we're losing sight of the story, and the story is that she died.
Yes. But anyway, I'm going...
And it's very sad. It's very sad. But she destroyed the world.
I'm going to say thank you, Mrs. Hunter Gordon, for saving my world on many occasions, because I could dispose of the nuclear waste rather quickly, very quickly, and put it in a placky bag and put it in the bin.
You just think you're being Jeremy Clarkson to my James May.
Yeah, you could be James May. Poor old Harry.
I'm going home. Either of you or any of those things.
I think you're right, Rach. Anyway, poor old Harry Redknapp's in trouble again, because this time he's run his missus over.
No.
How tragic is that?
I know. I think that I have a personal story to tell you about this, which is very sad. But yeah, Mr. Redknapp ran over his wife in his Range Rover by accident.
I've never seen Leigh. I've never seen one. I've never seen one. What's an Range Rover?
Yeah,
an Range Rover.
That's what you said. That's what you said with your.
It's like nothing on a bit.
That's what you
said. It's a Range Rover.
Well, let's see. To pick my words carefully from now on. Then
do you know? I'm going to be serious for a minute, Uncle Leigh. Uncle Leigh, I'm going to say to you, reboot your computer, come back and join us in a minute, because we can't understand a naffing word that you're saying. It's that bad. So we're going to throw you away. You come back in a minute, and then we'll see if we can talk to you, and Rach and I will carry on in the meantime, won't we, Rach?
Carry on, all right, yeah.
There'll be definite carry on.
You said it.
Now, this next story actually is not prevalent to Rachel, but in a kind of strange way, it does hook up, because Australia has a huge problem with unofficial migrants, where they, one Prime Minister chucked them out onto an island. And then you've got arguments about this, that, and the other, and who's doing what, where, how, when, and why. And it's exactly the same as it is in Europe, boys and girls. And I am so torn, Rach. I'm torn.
Yeah, I am too. When it comes to these stories, I can sort of see both sides. But you proceed with this story.
Well, I'm proceeding on the basis of, I don't want kids to be in, they call it the Calais jungle, and it's basically just ramshackle bits of something hammered together with a tarpaulin over the top, and that's kind of where they live. And I feel really bad that that's what these kids are having to cope with. And this week, the singer Lily Allen's been out to Calais with the headline being, she's trying to heighten the awareness. But, to Lily, how many kids are you taking?
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet. And I do get upset with people who go out, pontificating, whereas at least with Madonna, when she went out to the orphanage in Africa, she brought kids back with her, rather than doing, hey, look at me, I'm promoting the fact that there's a horrible place where the kids are here in this orphanage, but I'm not really going to do anything.
It becomes a photo opportunity.
Yes, whereas Madonna actually did something, and whether you like her or don't like her, that's irrelevant. The fact is, she put her money where her mouth is, and she adopted the child, or two, I think now, isn't it? And brought them up as her own children. And in that context, I applaud what she's done. But I don't...
I think you say the same for that terrible, horrible Angelina Jolie woman who I don't like. She's done the same. Yeah. And... had her own biological kids, as did Madonna, but has done something practical. And they're both actually really cool. Probably Angelina Jolie does a lot more because she's an ambassador and stuff. But, they've done really practical things, whereas this kind of, celebs sort of ranting and raving and saying this is terrible and this is wrong. What is it that you're doing exactly?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. And so that's one bit of a problem I have. And I do have. The second bit of the problem is I don't know, and what's happening now, which is another problem, people are saying, well, why don't they check out how old they are? And you know what? I agree, because I can't tell the age of youngsters the way I thought I could when I was younger. Now, I know I was rubbish then anyway, but that's irrelevant. So whether or not this person... This is a human being. I don't know whether that person is 14 years old or 18 or 19 years old, because it's incredibly difficult to tell the difference. And
what are they suggesting in this article? They're suggesting dental checks.
Yeah, but how's that going to work with people that got no money?
Well, who are they asking to pay? I mean...
No, but sorry, Rach, let me explain that. These kids have come from a very poor background, yeah?
Right.
So the chances are that their dental wear is not going to be that of a normal young child in the Western world. And they are liable to have bad teeth and fillings needed rather like a 30-year-old would need, maybe. So
but you can tell how that's true. But you can tell how I watch a lot of the Crime Channel, and I love the science.
Well, yes, I know that bit.
You can tell by dental and the size of the jaw.
Yep.
And so they check with the bone, and the teeth. The teeth themselves are of a certain size and sit in a certain place in the jaw.
Ah, right.
So there is a way to do forensic dentistry.
So it's like doing aging a horse then.
Yeah, it's like aging me. If you want to know how old I am, chop my arm off and count the rings. But
you numpty.
Or I'll just tell you. If you don't want to do that, I'll just tell you.
Yeah,
why don't I just tell you? But there's a whole forensic way of treating dentistry. It's a whole cool science. It's really, really interesting. But I see what you're saying, but there are different ways to do it. Because when you think about it, they quite often identify people who are deceased by their dental records.
Yeah.
And a body that's been gone for a long time, even a body that is no longer a body, is just even a skeleton.
Right.
They can still do forensics and figure out who, when, where, why, etc.
Yeah. Well, I have to say thank you to Rose, who's emailed him virtually your script.
There you go. Hey, Rose.
Hey, Rose, how you doing? Thank you for that. And she said, basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing out, Rose, but thank you, because that's exactly what Rachel was just saying. And it is the jaw position and stuff like that as well. So one thinks Rose, the way she's written, is of the medical persuasion.
She should be on our show as a medical consultant.
This is true. This is very true. Anyway.
And mostly because she would just agree with me, and that's awesome. Thanks,
oh, right, that's okay. We can live with that. Is he back
Rose
yet?
can validate what I'm saying.
No, he's not back yet. I'll tell you what, we'll get him back in the break. That's the easy way to do it.
We will.
I think, by all means, try and help the kids. But don't be like these... I won't name the person because I think that would be really unfair. But I was in a pub in England once, and there was this guy bragging about how much he'd given £50 to charity. Now I know that particular person is a millionaire. He then proceeded to blag a drink for nothing because he'd given 50 quid.
Wrong.
That is just wrong, and that's what I don't like with this thing. There seems to be a level of, oh, look at me, I'm helping, but I'm not really helping. I'm just pretending to help. And that does somewhat frustrate me immensely. But I'll tell you what, we'll take an early break, Rach, and we'll see if we can get Leigh back on. That's the easiest way to do that. We'll be back in a couple of sex, boys and girls. Don't go away, because Postcard will be back.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
This is an appeal that I simply wish I didn't have to make. In this day and age, how is it possible that 1,400 children will die today from dirty water? That children like Elodie have to drink dirty water from rivers and swamps, risking their lives. Right now, you can help save a child's life. Text the word water to 70080 to give WaterAid £3. WaterAid has the expertise to install pipes, pumps and taps that will bring clean water to children at risk. They just need your support. In the next minute, dirty water will kill another child like Elodie. So please, don't wait to save a child's life. Text WATER to 70080 now to give WaterAid £3. Thank you.
If your dream holiday is 2 hours from the UK, perfect for children and teenagers, young couples and the older visitor, ideal for the physically active and for those who just want to unwind, Aqua City is the destination for you. Described by the Travel Channel as the place that will soon be on everybody's lips, be ahead of the crowd and the envy of your friends, but still enjoy a home from home. Come to Aqua City Poprad, the world's leading green resort.
From the heart of Europe to the world, RTI.
That'll be us then, with me and Rach, because Leigh's interweb thing seems to have given up the ghost.
That's a shame, but I hope we can get it fixed because he's really interesting. People who haven't listened before, you just can't hear it today.
How may I help you?
Oh, you're there now.
Thank you for that.
Can you hear me, Mother?
Now, funnily enough, we can now hear you.
Can you?
Yeah.
That's funny, isn't it? Have we done Harry Redknapp yet?
We've done Harry, so that's gone. But we're going.
My story about Harry Redknapp then?
No, because we haven't got time. We'll tell it at the end if we've got time.
Might not want to then.
Well, that's hard luck then.
Right, carry on.
Because you'll miss out. He's only.
Carry on.
Oh no! You know what's bad now, Rach?
What?
What?
We can hear him.
I'm sulking.
Are you?
No, but it's good. I'm
I
glad.
am sulking, yes. I'm sulking with BT. I'm sulking with you. I'm sulking with Rachel. I'm sulking with Andrea. I'm sulking with me dog. I'm sulking with me cars.
You haven't got a dog.
Oh, I'm not sulking with me dog.
No.
You want to sulk with mine? He's right here.
I'll sulk with anything at the moment.
Really?
If you won't let me tell me Harry Redknapp story, I'm not talking.
Oh, well, go on then. Tell your story.
Well, honestly, no, this is the true thing that happened on the day that happened to Harry Redknapp's wife, right? We had a film crew here, good media, had come down to do some filming in the village of the Damned, and we were going out playing in my Discovery, my disco, my big bouncy castle disco. Anyway, the film man got in the front next to me. I was driving. The film lady got in the back with Andrea. Andrea was getting in the back. I drove off, and she fell out.
It's because you haven't got any doors on the back.
No, we haven't got doors on the back. She wasn't completely in. I'd looked in my mirror and I thought she was. Anyway, I drove off and she fell out. She wasn't very pleased with me.
Was Harry there?
Harry no, he was running over his own wife in his own little town. Me and Harry being star-crossed.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't put that together at all.
No.
Sorry.
I knew there'd be a tenuous link there somewhere, but where the devil it was... No.
We both ran over our wives.
No, you didn't run over. You dumped her out of the car. It's different.
I know, but if I'd have reversed, I would have run her over.
But you weren't reversing.
Oh, you spoil everything to me, you.
I could not be more pleased that we wasted all that time with that story.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rach.
I've got plenty of them.
I'm sure you have. When did you write them? Last night?
Yeah, that's me. Yes, don't be so rude to me. I'm just not going to talk. I'm just going to sit here in silence. I'll just keep going,
yes.
all the time.
Sometimes I despair, don't you? Anyway, Tony Blackburn is returning to the BBC.
Yes!
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
I like Blackburn.
I'm going to have to curtail my temperament here, I think.
Yeah.
Because I could get into trouble.
You could.
Very easily.
It's half an hour since you've been in trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Okay, this is my take. Tony gets fired from the... Well, he wasn't actually fired. They didn't terminate his contract. They just didn't let him into the building.
He was stood down.
He was stood down, that's right. On the basis of this report that this other woman that knows nothing about the media had written. Now, all of a sudden, and there's been this whole thing through the summer where Tony was going to take legal action against them because there was a kind of inference that he'd done something naughty when he was younger. There was a bit of inference there.
Yeah, it wasn't an inference. It was an actual statement that he was involved in this thing, and actually it would appear that he wasn't.
Well, we know that.
It wasn't an inference. It was a pretty bold statement by the BBC.
Yeah, nobody was inferring anything at all, were they, Uncle Leigh? It was
no.
And he was saying, I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember. And
then you can't remember, can you?
Well, let's put it this way. I would be able to remember if I'd done what he was accused of doing.
Sure.
And in a way, it's almost medieval justice. By the fact he said he couldn't remember, he hanged himself. But I believe he didn't do it like the rest of the world.
Well, that's true. Now, the interesting thing is, the show that he was most famous for was Pick of the Pops. Yes. Which he took over from several people, including the legendary Alan Fluff Freeman from Australia. Yeah. And Alan was just an amazing guy. They have not given Tony that show back. They've given him a 1 hour show. 1 hour.
And it's Desmond Carrington's show.
Well, that's okay. Not really worried about that so much. But
Desmond Carrington was a brilliant broadcaster.
No, I'm not.
70 years broadcasting.
I'm not knocking that. They've chopped him down from 2 hours to 1 hour.
Yes.
And a lot of people are suggesting the only reason the BBC have done this is to avoid there being legal action taken, because they would have lost. That's what people say. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But
the clue to that, if you read the Consumer Watch Foundation story on this, the Consumer Watch Foundation was the first publication to say that the BBC had not apologised to Tony for what they'd done. So I think that backs your argument so much. It's incredible that the BBC could do that, give him his job back, but not say we're sorry. So what is this all about? I think you're right.
They don't admit guilt of anything, do they? Wrongdoing and so forth.
No, you have to remember. You have to remember the BBC, Rach. They're better than everybody.
Yeah, because they're one of those public thingies, aren't they?
Yeah, they just...
Except at broadcasting, they're not very good at broadcasting.
Well, that's very true. They're getting worse and worse at that. But this also comes...
It's discussed. They're really ordinary at events.
Well, yes, they are. Don't start me on that one as well. You're winding me up now. I know you are. But anyway, it comes as well just after the biggest snub they could have ever done to Tony, in the form of he was not invited to Sir Terry Wogan's commemoration service in London. And Tony was not invited, and they worked together for years. Yeah. Tony would hand over to Terry in the Radio 1 morning slot because Tony would finish.
That was like 50 years ago.
But it was,
and they would have known they were going to reinstate him at that point.
I'm not sure they would, Rach. I'm not sure they would.
You reckon?
Listen, no, you've got to accept that the BBC is actually a big corporate entity, and the corporate entities tend to plan for everything that doesn't matter and then firefight when something crucial comes along.
True.
And with Tony Blackburn threatening to sue over what had happened to him, and bear in mind that they're being threatened to be sued by Cliff Richard as well, and everybody's condemning the BBC for being rubbish and being twisted and unable to make anything like a radio programme. They needed to react, and that's what they did, Rach. They reacted in a corporate way.
But I've seen this before, and again, I'm not going to mention names, but when they pushed somebody out of radio, it got really bad. It did get bad. Where the listeners in that circumstance, which was a long time ago now, they actually started posting smelly gone-off fish through the letterbox of the boss of that particular network.
Oh, that's genius. I love old school.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's like torches and pitchforks. It's good stuff.
That's the Village of the Damned.
Well,
yes.
It was more like
that's just when they turn up to one of Leigh's barbecues.
Exactly.
Well, that's true.
One of them on it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't go to one of Leigh's because, as he says, Village of the Damned, get it together, bubonic plague, don't touch the food.
The BBC, you know.
I don't know.
Do you know why I'm banned by the BBC?
Because you say they've got the plague?
No, because I'm too noisy.
Oh.
I'm too noisy. I sound like, what the actual phrase was, you sound like a stand-up comedian. I thought, well, that's brilliant. That's exactly what you should have people present as sound.
That's supposed to be an insult. I reckon that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Not like some silly old grandmother. Not like some old fat bloke who sits there having intelligence to say. The BBC is run by idiots.
Do you know what breaks my heart almost as a broadcaster?
That I'm too noisy.
No, you're not too noisy at all.
Did
it? The BBC was, and I use the word was, the most glorious place to be in at one time.
I loved it when I used to go to that big broadcasting house place in London.
Yeah.
It was glorious. It made you feel special.
Yeah.
Well, then you listen to the programme. It's what a load of rubbish.
No, but you honestly, the people there, this is so true, boys and girls, the people on the consumer programmes like Watchdog were so committed to the programmes that they were making. They would come in on their own time on a Saturday to answer calls from the viewers. And because they were so passionate about it, they loved it so much. The
BBC got them working for nothing.
Well, there is that to it as well. But, it was the passion that they had in there. That passion has gone. They've killed it.
Well,
it doesn't stand for anything anymore.
For underage children, wasn't it?
It's not. It doesn't stand for anything. You know what? This is really reminiscent of because we've got the same situation here with the ABC.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not the exact same situation, but
similar.
Kind of beacon of hope and magic and wonder, and now it's just sort of this kind of strange left-wingy political
blandness
sort of channel, but it's also it no longer is what it said it was from the beginning. It's become something else.
Yes,
and corporatized, like Uncle Leigh was saying.
Yes,
and it's very sad. It's very sad, and the fact that they can treat people the way they do,
yep,
without so much as a how do you do or any sort of punishment for how they treat people, in particular with Richard, and in particular the great and wonderful Lord and Saviour Tony Blackburn.
Yep.
It's a shame, and they should all be taken to task. Plus,
Taken
this morning
to task.
I was talking to Robbie about dreadful BBC this morning, and he said they're crap.
That's fair. That's fair.
He said, "Have you ever listened to it?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, it's terrible."
Yep. And it is.
That's the description.
And that's what we.
I'll tell you what. No, I'm going to tell you the truth. They can't manage talent. That's their biggest problem.
Of course they can't.
The blind people stay there forever. The creative ones they can't cope with because they have to communicate with them.
I disagree. They won't. Creative people. Ask Uncle Leigh. He's an atypical creative person.
He is
passionate, opinionated. Won't be bossed around by anybody. Won't be told how he can create his art. All those things. And then they say, "Oh, we're the BBC, so you have to be in this box now."
Yes.
And creative people say, "Stick it in your ear. I'm out the door."
Yeah. Because they can't work with people, and it's so easy to see. And I said this to, in fact, I found a little sticky thing that you put on Facebook the other week, and it was talking about money and how money is the worst killer of creativity. Whereas if you've got little money, you've got to be creative, and that's the problem that they all have.
That's a very good point.
It's like you and your bits of wires, Uncle Eric.
I suppose it is, really.
Like MacGyver with a box of foil. You know how to make an air conditioner out of a piece of hose and a bag of foil. It's fantastic. It's the same thing. Creative.
Do you know what I did the other...
In the high Tatras mountains with your little box of wires, you could make little things to catch little animals.
Yeah. No, this is so funny because...
We don't condone the catching and
No.
Here at RTI.
Disgusting thought, and I'm ashamed of Eric for having it.
Oh, thank you. No, it's so funny, Rach, because this very week, what you're describing is what happened. Really.
What, you were very weak?
No, there was a guy phoned me up who's a kind of a work colleague-ish, and so he said, "Look, I'm really sorry."
Adjacent.
Yes, he said, "Sorry, Eric, the call might be a bit because I've got a rotten signal." So I said, "Is your email still working?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I'll email you." And I sent him this drawing of a large book, which was opened out as a V shape and covered in tinfoil, which he had to point towards where he could find the antenna mast, then put his phone in front of it. And he actually admitted, he said, I thought you were winding me up. He said, "But blinking heck, it works. I can get a signal now." I said, "You will do."
Did I do that with mine?
I don't think anything works for you, Leigh.
But you know what? You weren't winding him up. You weren't winding him up, Uncle Eric. You were hooking him up.
I was hooking him up. Anyway, we move on because Leigh's found this wonderful story about being James Bond.
The problem is, I can't read because I've now lost my glasses and I can't see the script. But yes.
Oh, you despair.
It's a funny set of circumstances.
It really is.
You do realise they would have now pulled the plug on us at the BBC, don't you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
The world's conspiring against Uncle Leigh. It's just terrible. He can't take a trick today at all.
No.
Can I help? Can I help in any way?
Yeah.
You could read it out and I'll comment.
Oh, which article is it? Because now I've lost my page.
I'll tell you which it is. It's really interesting. The place, what I can't remember, where all the spies live.
GCHQ.
That's the one. They're looking for a new spy. They're looking for a real life James Bond, and I've applied for it because I'm going to get some wire like Eric, and I'm going to use it for catching little animals and getting people and tying people up. That's what I put in my application. That's in my CV. I can tie people up with Eric's wire.
I've got plenty of that now.
I feel like somebody's made me eat crazy pills because last week I didn't have 3/4 of the stories, and today it seems to be the same.
No, he's there. He's there.
It is there.
After Tony?
What's happened? He's forgotten to
there it is.
highlight the headline.
There's no headline. You're right. It was hiding. But last week there was many things were just missing.
Many things. Many things.
Just blame me for everything. I mean, I don't care what it was.
Just blame me. Just say I'm too noisy. It's the BBC.
Blame them. Anyway, the GCHQ puzzle book, which is what we're talking about, includes a foreword from the Duchess of Cambridge, whose grandmother actually worked at Bletchley Park as a code breaker during the Second World War, which is where Eric was educated. Perhaps that's why I'm the way I am.
That's why he speaks in code, ladies and gentlemen.
This is true.
The word it says.
Funnily enough, my chairman says that.
Uncle Leigh was talking in Morse code before.
Was he? Da-di-da-di-da-da-di-da.
Dots, the dee-da-do-dicks.
Hang on, did you get that one, Leigh? Try again. Ready?
Yeah, go on.
I can't do it now. Da-di-da-di-da-da-di-da. Da-di-da-di-da-da-di-da.
He's doing it posh, though, isn't he? He's doing posh Morse code. Da-di-da. Da-da.
There'll be lots of radio hams going, I know what you're saying, Eric, but that Mr. that Mr. Banks doesn't know a thing.
I don't.
Which is probably true, actually. Anyway,
story.
This book thingy is kind of a brain teaser of codes and puzzles and challenges which you have to get through. And then if you get... To become a spy. So you've had the book about 2 years now then, Leigh, yeah?
I've done it. I am the next spy. I am the next James Bond. Forget about all those Hollywood actors.
Leigh?
I'm changing my name to Basildon.
I know, and Bond.
This is how Alan Turing got his code breakers when he put out the crossword puzzle in the paper.
That's right, exactly the same. Exactly the same. But the thing is, Rach, the idea of this book is you're supposed to do it quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Leigh's taken...
Not like 2 years.
Not like 2 years, no. And you're not allowed to phone a friend, which Leigh does, and he goes, Andrea...
I don't, because I haven't got any friends.
Andrea, what's the answer to this one?
She's not my friend. She tried to get me banned from driving because I tried to kill her, apparently.
If there was colouring in it, Leigh would be the biggest spy ever.
Yeah, but
only black and white.
Oh, no, yeah, I was going to say, because the trouble is when you get to 3 colours, Rach, we've got a problem.
Found me glasses!
Oh, yeah.
Justin Timberlake apparently has embarrassed Susanna, the lovely Susanna Reid, as he calls her a super hot grandmother. What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? Being a MILF.
What's wrong with that?
No, worse than that, he's accused her of being a GILF.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what it is, if I'd said it to her, I would have thought it was really cool and sophisticated. But because it was that little person,
yes.
Do you know how old he is? He acts like a child. He acts like an absolute child. The boy child, is 35 years old. And you simply do not chat up women on the television and tell them they are your GILF.
No. Yes, you do.
You do.
And if he called me late for dinner, I'd take a running pass at him. He's delicious.
He'd like just to be just in then.
I do. Yeah, exactly. I would say to him, "Careful, young man. Don't start what you can't finish."
He only likes trolls, Rachel. She live under a bridge.
He does like trolls, actually.
He's in a lovely new movie, and it's very good, apparently.
This is very true.
It's good. It's not Justin Timberlake in it.
Anyway, for once, when we get to older musicians, Mr. Banks and I are going to agree.
What? Chuck your hat away?
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It's his 90th birthday this week, and he's releasing a new album. What a brilliant idea, Chuck! You are so good.
I think you're quite right, actually. Yeah, he's, and this is what I was saying to you last week, and I know Rachel caught on, but you didn't because you are a Philistine. I said that all these people, like His Royal Bobness, Chuck Your Hat Away, the Moaning Bones, all those people are actually the new bluesmen. They are the new B.B. Kings, the new Muddy Waters, the new Blind Lemon Jeffersons. They are the people who will perpetuate rock and roll and music into the future.
Do you know how he won me over?
Go on.
It was many, many decades ago at a concert.
He showed you his ding-a-ling.
No, it's connected to the ding-a-ling, actually, funnily enough. He was doing a concert at, I think it was Bowes House or somewhere like that in Stevenage. Huge, great place. And we went along, and he was really entertaining. And he saved the song My Ding-a-ling Till Last.
Yeah.
And there was these guys, these bouncers, they were like Neanderthal men. Huge, great guys. And, of course, they can't sing My Ding-a-ling, can they?
Why?
Because they're security blokes. And they get
Are they not allowed to sing?
No.
Why?
I don't know, but they weren't allowed to sing. You should have seen Chuck Berry take the mickey out of these guys. It was hysterical. Because, I mean, some of these guys were 3 times the size of Chuck Berry. And he was just sending them up rotten. It was beautiful.
He was a very, very good, outrageous, and still is, I assume. He was really outrageous in every way that you can imagine. He was quintessential rock and roll. He is very nearly a god of rock. I reckon he is a god of rock and roll.
Yeah,
actually.
I agree. Yeah, I can go with that.
I would like to shock you both by saying I also agree.
Huh?
What?
Eh?
I agree with both of you. I
What?
love him. He's great.
Is she ill?
Hang on.
Is she ill, Eric?
Hang on. It's 2016 and it's October.
It's quarter to 11, so probably that has a lot to do.
Well, that's where you are, not where we are. But make a note in diary. Put big marker. Get your marker pen out. Mark it on your calendar. It's 2016. It's October. And all 3 of us have agreed on the same subject.
Exactly. And it was Rachel who actually recognised talent after extolling the virtues of Justin Timberlake.
Right.
I wouldn't want to take a running pass at Chuck Berry, though.
No, he's a bit too old. Anyway, Rach, we have to ask you a question.
This is
Yes.
This is a really earth-shattering question, Rach.
I know.
Yes.
Why is there a row in Australia over mashed avocado on toast?
It's hilarious. Oh, by the way, it's
why'd you eat
smashed.
it
It's called smashed avo. If
Smashed
you come to
avo.
Australia and want to eat it,
You can't win, can
smashed
you?
avo.
That really
You
is bad.
But you can't. It's this. Okay, Bernard Salt wrote this article from the Australian, and Bernard Salt is one of the foremost researchers and proponents of talking about various generations and what they mean. So the Gen X, the Gen Y, the Millennials, etc. He himself is a baby boomer, and he has said that he can't. He's baffled by the notion that the young'uns today, the Gen Ys, are going out and having brunch and paying $22 for a piece of toast with smashed avo and feta cheese on it, why they are not at home eating cornflakes and putting that money towards a deposit for a house.
The man's
Right.
a knob.
He's
The
a
man's
fool.
So he's actually kind of cool and pretty smart. This is probably the stupidest thing I've heard him say.
Well, I think
and of
there
course,
it is. It's a ridiculous.
Absolutely.
How
social
many-
media,
How
social
much you
media
need
erupted.
for a house in Australia, Rach?
Oh, you need, if you want a decent house, you need to pay, on a really cheap day, probably 750,000.
Right. Divide that by 22.
I can't do
Yeah.
that.
So that's 15. That's 15,000. So they'd
You
have to avoid
Yep.
eating about 15,000 bashed up aubergines or whatever it is to get a house. How long would it take you to eat that? This is a ludicrous statement by somebody called Bernard Salt, and actually
thing
probably
is-
take out of total context because he only wrote one paragraph on it.
The thing is, I think it has been taken out of a huge amount of context, but But he's actually really brilliant. You should look up some of his articles. He's written some fantastic articles about the Gen X's, Gen Y's, baby boomers. But the thing that has annoyed people on social media, because, you know, when people get so upset on social media over nothing at all. Really.
True.
But the argument that has erupted is that the market in Australia is such now that it is almost impossible for anybody to actually break into it without saving for a gazillion years. A deposit is really hard to wrestle, and it is really difficult for them to get into the market. Real estate prices are ridiculous. Everybody's being forced out of the market by foreign investment and so forth. It's really tricky. So they're saying, so what should we do, Bernard Salt? What are you saying we should do? We should just, all sit home and eat cornflakes forever? And a lot of people don't. They have the money to buy their $22 piece of toast because they still live at home with their parents because they can't go out into the rental market
because they can't buy a house.
Exactly.
Apparently, Barry thinks, and Barry apparently is from Sydney. Hello, Sydney.
Oh, hi,
hello,
Barry.
Sydney. You live in Barry?
Yeah. Stop it, you numpty.
Australian listener, I'm flabbergasted.
No. He's just said you should award him your favourite word, Eric. Make him numpty of the week.
All right.
Yeah.
Right, so Mr. Salt, you are officially, according to Barry, numpty of the week. And who am I to argue with a man in Australia talking about a man from Australia?
Oh, I thought he was in Wales.
Oh. His name is Barry, and he's from
I got it the
Sydney.
wrong way round. Sorry, Sydney.
You can't win, can you? I think it was better when we couldn't hear him. Apparently, we mentioned this last week. The gorilla that escaped, well, not properly escaped, who got away from his enclosure, helped himself to a blackcurrant squash.
No.
Well, this gorilla clearly needs a dart or something of some sort of tranquilizer because he's out of control. He's getting near the door of his enclosure. He's getting near it, and now he's eating fruit-based confections.
Yes.
Put him out of his misery. He's clearly out of his mind.
Right.
What would happen to you if you drank 5 litres of undiluted blackcurrant squash? The actual questions in the story. And the problem is, nobody who wrote this story bothered to answer the question. Did it make him hyperactive? Was he running around the house, breaking things?
I think he'd have been sitting on the toilet for a while.
Well, that's it. Did it affect his abluting areas? What happened? Nobody actually tells you what happened. This is a ludicrous story. Whoever wrote this story should be sacked.
Right.
I keep thinking of that little girl from Willy Wonka and
the chocolate factory. Yes.
The blueberry girl, the big blueberry girl.
That's right. Now, listen, I've got to do funnily enough, believe it or not, we're actually going to do a little consumer story.
Are we?
Yes.
How's this computer on?
Yes. Now I'm going to squeeze it in now because we're running short of time. But I'm going to ask my esteemed colleagues for help.
Right then.
Oh.
Won't we, Rachel?
Because I need your help.
If it gets me an iPhone, I'll do it.
If he sends me some wire, I'll do it.
You can't win. So here we go. Now we're going to ask the most not technical person first for a bit of advice.
Rachel.
That's Leigh.
Rachel.
Leigh.
Rachel.
If you keep on, I shall tell them what you did wrong with your mixer.
What did I do wrong with my mixer?
You forgot to put the earth wire on it, didn't you?
I did. All I got was wind and fire.
No earth at all. Very good. So anyway, let's assume you have a memory stick, one of those little flash drive memory sticks that you plug in the side of your computer.
Nothing flash about mine. They're just black like normal people.
That's right. And is it true to say you can save documents and programs on those little sticks?
You can. It's dead hard getting them up that little hole in the end, though.
So anyway, there's this advert going around the interweb at the moment which says this. Yes. It says, if you buy this little memory stick for $25, I think it is, from us, it will turn your old computer into quite a fast, new-feeling computer. But you'll have to hurry up because you can guess that the computer industry will shut us down. And they actually use that as a strapline to try and get you to go and buy it now. Now, boys and girls, it's a total load of old rubbish.
Rubbish.
rubbish with a capital
Rubbish.
R. Rubbish.
With a capital R.
However
Big
you
R.
want to put it. And I will now expose them. Because
Oh.
what they are talking about is a wonderful piece of software called Zorin. And Zorin is based on Linux for the more technically minded. And it gives you the feel of having kind of a Windows experience on a computer. Now,
That's the pervert.
the difference is that with Linux and equally Zorin, it doesn't eat memory. It doesn't need a very high-powered processor. So when you've been using, say, Windows 7 because you've upgraded on that which was an XP machine, it's kind of clunky from time to time because it can't cope. And with this little stick, you plug it in the side. It has Zorin on it, but this is the key point. Zorin is free.
Yeah.
It's free. So you plug it in, and when you start the computer up, you say, "I want to start from the memory stick, please," and it does it, and it brings on Zorin, and your old computer kind of flies along because it doesn't eat all the processing power and eating the RAM, and it gives you this wonderful feel. Now, there is no way that the computer industry are going to shut down Zorin that actually some people use to sell computers with.
Could you then download Zorin onto your computer independently for nothing, or download it onto a memory stick and then use it to make your computer?
Yes, indeed so.
There's a top tip, ladies and gentlemen. It will be appearing within the Consumer Watch Foundation pages next week.
But seriously, don't rush into this thing. You can buy a memory stick for a couple of dollars in the Australia, a couple of pounds in England, a couple of euros in Slovakia, much cheaper than $25, whichever way you look at it. You can download Zorin for a flash drive from Zorin's own website for absolutely nothing.
And what happens? You stick that thing inside of your
Yeah.
And you then tell your computer
To start using Zorin.
And so all your files, have you got to have your files on this?
No, you can import the files into Zorin from your Windows directories.
Yeah, so it's not that simple. You don't just stick it in and it happens.
Well, it does, because when you look at the C drive, it's all there anyway. Oh, my Lord. Sorry, we got to run. Rachel?
Yes?
I'm afraid you're going to have to say goodbye to Barry.
Goodbye, Barry. Goodbye, Barry. Rug up nice and warm. It's still winter in Australia for some reason.
And now we hand over to the Sooty and Sweep studios.
Well, I'd just like to say, bye-bye, Sydney. Bye-bye.
I love it. We'll see you the same time next week, boys and girls. Don't forget you can keep up to speed with us via the page called Radio on Facebook if you'd like to ask any questions, or you can use ppstudio@gmx.com. That's ppstudio@gmx.com. Love it to hear from you, and we'll be back same time, same channel, same whatever else it is next week. Take care.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.